So one of the main reasons that I wanted to bring this group together was just to really talk about motherhood, the experiences that we've had, expectation versus reality, the hurt, the help, the stigmatized topics that we don't always have the comfort of sharing, and to let other moms know that they're in a safe space. At Mission Motherhood, they are part of our village and that we are here to support them. Sometimes as moms, we find ourselves in the dark, lonely, isolated. We all have those days. So where have you been in those experiences, if you feel comfortable sharing, where you're just like, okay, now it's gone too far?
After my last child is when it was the hardest for me. I was so exhausted and I was just wanting help and not having it. And I remember sitting in my bathroom and just crying and saying out loud how much I hate my life. And what a horrible thing to say. I have 3 beautiful children. My husband is very supportive, very wonderful person. And I was sitting there hating myself and hating where I was at. It felt like such a horrible thing to feel. And I'm like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. And I think that's around that time is when I actually called you and said, I need help.
I appreciate you sharing that because I remember that very well. And your son is now 2.5. And it's still part of that season. Like, we still need help, we still need support, but like, you've made it so far, which is something to be celebrated too.
The help is there. It's just sometimes as moms, it's so hard for us to embrace it. I don't know, it feels like a win for me. Like, girl, I'm so glad you embraced that.
Whenever anyone reaches out, my first response is, I'm so glad you've reached out. I think once you actually take that step, we try to make it easier. It's not, nothing's going to change overnight. We walk alongside you and just make sure that you're seen. If you could either go back to yourself or if you could say something to a new mom, what would it be?
I would say, like, any thought that you think that you shouldn't be having, because it's so terrible. So many other women have had that thought, and like, you're not a bad mom for having those thoughts. Anytime I've shared that with other moms, I've never been embraced more.
It's so hard to explain the concept of thinking those things and simultaneously loving your children, like, to the depths. Because I was like, how can these two things exist, right? For me, it was, I think I read this, when you're in this space of, like, people are coming at you with advice, or you should do it this way, or just wait until this, right? I read, there's no better mom for your kids than you.
I would say having grace for yourself, being vulnerable, so when you are having those dark thoughts, share them with someone so you're not alone, and make sure you have everything that you need as a mother, as a human being.
And those thoughts too, when they do come up, they're from a place of protection for your child. It's so good to speak it. It's so good to understand that I do love my child because I'm having these thoughts that I never would have occurred to me otherwise. Everyone being here and showing up is the beauty of motherhood. Like, you're showing up for yourselves, you're showing up for women whose stories are unheard but can be related to. And that's how we need to do it for each other. In closing, I appreciate you guys being here and sharing and just being a part of each other's journeys.